Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you're watching from. We're here again, another stream, another game week. It's just fast turnarounds, huh? They're a pretty crazy thing. But apologies for anybody that tunes in that was looking for a 5 o'clock stream. I just had to do a few bits and pieces for work later on today. So, but I'm here for half an hour nonetheless. It's not exactly as long as I wanted to stream, but. We'll jump in and we'll see what the team's looking like. I have made the transfer. If you watched the video yesterday, I've moved, as you can see, Sterling to Salah. He's pretty much going to be my captain. I think it was twofold really for me. It was a captaincy kind of dilemma for me. I wasn't sure if I wanted to go with Trossard, Zaha, possibly even could have gone as far as maybe Maddison if he didn't get suspended. So I didn't see a clear and obvious move other than that, to be honest. So the move is made. As you can see on screen, Sterling to Salah, still got 1.4 million in the bank. And just, hoping for the green arrows to continue. So, hopefully you have a successful game week as well. Any dilemmas, bang them in the chat. Any bench headaches. I mean, it's a little bit of a strange week, I suppose, as I know a lot of teams have got City and Arsenal assets in. So if you're in the same position as me, you just bench them, right? I don't think there's any reason to overthink it too much. But yes, here we are. I'll be interested to know, with the people watching, who you are going to captain. If you're not going to captain Salah, then who are you going to go for? If you haven't brought him in, have you got a different premium? Are you possibly going to go Kane, Son against United? Maybe someone like that. And of course, for anybody tuning in as well, if you're new, hit that subscribe button for me. Already reached over 400, and I just can't believe the support, to be honest. It's been absolutely phenomenal. It's SJ. Hello, mate. How you doing? Do you think it's worth keeping KDB, or should I bring in Salah? I have one transfer. I'm going to be honest. I think KDB to Salah makes sense this week. I would say he's blanking. Ultimately, I think Foden offers better value from a midfielder perspective in that City slot. So if you've got a way to get Foden in from game week 13, then I think going down that route is probably better. So I would recommend KDB to Salah, yes. I think it's a clear captaincy decision as well. I think Kane is a good option as well, hence why I asked the question, right? I think that United haven't been, let's say, slick at the back. They haven't had the most defensive prowess, really. So I feel like there could be goals in that game. But I predicted a 2-2 with Newcastle United, and then look what happened. So who knows? Hi Tanoki, it's past midnight here, but thought I'd drop by for a short while. It's only a half an hour stream, bud, to be honest. I'm literally, like I say, because I've work, it's just a little bit difficult on these midweek ones to do a full stream. So appreciate you dropping by, mate. It's a late one for you indeed. Hi Mateusz, how you doing, bud? Tanoki, you did James and Maddison to Gahey and Mount. I think they're solid moves, mate, to be honest. Look, Mount's in form. He looks like he's pretty much undroppable. Right, in the current situation, 2 double-digit hauls. That's a really solid transfer. And James to Gahey, I think again, a Wolves that team that just don't look like scoring. Right, they've only got Costa up front. It's just been a bit of a shambles for them. So I think they're 2 solid moves, mate. Good luck with them. Yeah, hopefully you guys aren't having to deal with too much, I don't know, sort of hassle, I suppose, with Arsenal and City blanking. In some ways, I do think, SJ, it makes the move, like I say, a lot easier for you because they're blanking KDB. I just think, if you want to hold him long term, maybe keep him. But I just think if you've got a route to Salah with a captaincy option this week, I just think it's solid. Mateusz, do I think that Robertson for Soufal is a good move? Well, I mean, Liverpool's fixtures do look good. I was actually really impressed with them against City, I'm not going to lie. As a United fan, obviously watching that game for both essentially our rivals, and it was a really heated game. I just felt like their energy levels were back to what we were used to. I think with Robertson, he looks like he's back to fitness, so I do like that move. I mean, Soufal's probably a bit, kind of risky. It just depends. It's a big money upgrade, right, for you. So I would say just have a look at a few weeks' time. Do you need that money for another move? Does it block anything else 2 weeks, 3 weeks down the line? But in isolation, if it doesn't and you're happy to use that extra money, I think Robertson's a fantastic choice, yes. So, Loki, I would have done Trossard, but a little flexibility to not immediately have moved him in for week 13 is nice, yeah. I mean, Mount against Brentford as well. It is a little bit less aggressive, you're right, but I think that still like long term. See, Trossard for me was only really going to be a 2-week move. I don't really feel confident in playing him against City next week, right? So he's probably going to be, like I mentioned in my video last night, either a Martinelli replacement, or I just put some more money in and I bring in Saka, or I bring in Foden. I just haven't quite decided on the next move yet, but I think Mount is still a very, very good move. Exactly, that's the thing. Trossard is just kind of that 1 week territory. And I know some content creators have recommended that kind of 1 week punt, but I think, to be honest, in the fixture congestion, we need to rely on bench players. We need to rely on our squads as a whole, right? So it just becomes a little bit tricky when you bring in, sort of one player for 1 week. Essentially, it's just, it's maybe a bit too risky. So I like the Mount move, mate. I like it. It's so interesting as well, right? With two of the kind of those 8 million price point midfielders in Saka and Mount, they were the two that I started the season with, and I just thought they were going to continue where they left off last season. And obviously, we had a bit of turmoil in Chelsea, really, with Tuchel, his future being under a little bit of scrutiny. Eventually, getting sacked. I think I only had him till game week 4, and then with Saka as well. Like, they're both now just starting to kick on, just as the World Cup approaches as well, which is great news for England, but. Not so much for my decision making within FPL. But yeah, I think both of them in that sort of price point now are looking really, really good. I would have said probably only Foden, and then possibly I would have said Mount was in the punt territory. But now he's obviously got another double digit. I think that says enough for me. I think he's going to be a confident young man. Yeah, I mean, I do understand it's -2, but that's the thing. It's a bit of a strange situation, is it, with the maths like that, I suppose. But yeah, I get that. If you're locking in transfer, then Trossard will be a -6. Yeah, absolutely. Because you're just going to ship him out again, right? It just doesn't make sense. So was the James and Maddison move for you a -4? Or did you do it with 2 free transfers? I mean, if you did it with free transfers, I think it's even more of a sort of obvious play for you. Yeah, understood. I think 2 free transfers for those moves are really positive, mate. Good stuff. Who have you captained? I can't remember if you have Salah in your team, bud. Sorry, it's just hard to keep track of my own team, let alone other people's. But yeah, I mean, my plan was to try and keep 2 for 13 because I could, with Maddison, right? If I didn't make that move from Sterling to Salah, I probably would have played 5 in midfield. I would have maybe kept Sterling. I'm not 100% sure on that. I'm obviously, after Salah's form and impressive kind of display really against City and Rangers, I think he skewed the thinking a little bit for me personally, but I would have maybe gone with 2 free transfers into 13, which I did like the sound of, just so that I can keep up with the wildcarders, essentially. I don't think I don't know how many managers are going to be holding that far on. 13. I'm not sure. I haven't looked at any of the data to see how many people have used it or not, but it's use it or lose it, right? So they've surely got to be using it around that time. Probably replaced Emerson if Maddison didn't dive, yeah. Captaining Kane. I think, like I've mentioned to SJ, I do think he's a solid option, right? I just think that with Man United, it's a tough fixture. It is. It's a really strange one. Like, we're not necessarily all firing on all cylinders yet. But I definitely can see goals in that game, and Kane's been in and amongst them, what is it, 9 weeks on the bounce now that he's got at least one attacking return. Start Bazunu versus Bournemouth or Ward versus Leeds? It's a good question. I mean, to be honest, I've actually been a little bit more impressed with Bournemouth. I know that they conceded 2 against Fulham, but I'm not too sure. Bazunu Southampton, so I don't know what I'm talking about with the conceding. I meant Bournemouth are impressive from an attacking point of view, so I'm not convinced that Southampton will be able to keep them out. I would say Ward's probably got. Again, I know this is back in Leicester, but I don't know. When you've got those 2 choice keepers, I think Ward has to do it for me. I can't see Southampton doing it. So Tanoki, my team is Son, Kane, Haaland, Freemium, where I diluted Son into Bowen and Maddison. Okay, yeah, sure, understood. And to be honest, I mean, look, 2 weeks ago or a week and a half ago, if you would have asked me who the premium picks were going to be or of choice, I definitely said Haaland and Kane looked like the best options. But yeah, I'm going to be honest. I think Salah's just been thrown into the mix now, not only just because of his hat-trick, but I just think he looks a little bit better. I think Klopp maybe made a mistake in playing him out wide, and I think centrally now he looks a little bit more back to the old self. Yeah, so you agree with me. I honestly think that Bournemouth as an outfit, it's a strange one, because I still think they're a targetable fixture from an attacking perspective. So if you've got Kane against Bournemouth, if you've got Haaland against Bournemouth, I still think that's who you captain, right? But from a defensive point of view now, I'm not sure. I think Solanke and certain people now, they've just showcased that little bit of form that just gives me that kind of nervousness around playing defenders against Bournemouth now. And if you've got Walker-Peters as well, I think that makes sense. So, the double up is maybe a little bit too dangerous. I think as well as that, Mateus, right, you've got to look at it and think to yourself, from a goalkeeping standpoint, are you happy with whoever you choose? Are you happy in the knowledge that Ward probably isn't going to also keep a clean sheet, right? If you had Ederson in there, if you had Alisson in there, then you're probably going to be a bit more disappointed if they don't keep the clean sheet, right? Because you've got more value in them. You expect maybe better from those higher profile teams. Whereas with Southampton, if you play him and, it's a double up with Walker-Peters as well, and they both wipe out, or both their clean sheets get wiped out, you kind of just have to own that decision, I think. Yeah, I think that's a good shout. All 3 of those teams, look, like I mentioned at the beginning, I think Gahey that you've made the move for. Obviously, I've got Guaita in goal as well for Palace. Wolves just aren't scoring goals at the moment. They just cannot seem to score. Villa as well. It's just, I think that they're just in a bit of turmoil, right? They just don't seem to be. I'm saying turmoil. That's maybe a little bit, again, offensive to any Villa fans that watch. But I did actually think they looked quite impressive from the highlights I saw against Chelsea. They looked a little bit more on it. So I think they've got a goal coming soon, or a bit of a tide turn. But again, I think I agree with you. I think they're a target to fixture and Forest, as you say. I just think, yeah, they've been pretty poor, haven't they? Okay, I mean, I understand that, SJ. I like KDB from 13 onwards as well. My own personal view on it is that I think that now Foden seems to be that kind of nailed midfielder for only 8.3, is he now? 8.2 million. You can effectively get into that City attack with Haaland and another midfielder and don't have to break the bank for it. That's kind of my reasoning with it. I still think KDB actually, in the grand scheme of things, maybe from an FPL asset perspective, is probably a bit more consistent than Foden. I mean, the ability that he has in terms of his passing accuracy is just something to behold, right? So I do think he's a very, very solid option still. I just think it depends on, like I said, how you're going to use the money if you did downgrade him to Foden, for example. I'm all good, George. Yourself, mate. Thanks for joining again. Good to see you. To Hadir, Maddison and James to Trossard and Gahey, or Trossard and Trent. I think with Trent, like I know we see him come back and then he's probably going to feature. I'd say it's maybe still a bit too early. I think Trossard, as a pick for me, obviously I brought him in a couple of weeks ago, right? So I think bringing him in for this week, you've got to anticipate or just expect yourself to be benching him over the next few. So maybe as a 1 week punt, I'm not 100% convinced. I think Maddison to Saka or Foden is a better move. So I would even try to hold on to Maddison and just focus on that defensive move from Reece James, in my opinion. I can see both picks working out. I mean, Trossard against Forest is a great fixture to target, but just try and plan in a few weeks' time, right? Don't just plan for this week for your transfers. Exactly, Tanoki. That's the thing. Salah actually offers a captaincy choice as well, right? So I completely agree with that. George, heading into this week with 10 players thanks to Maddison's booking. My Salah transfer I was talking about last week was that I went with. Don't know whether to deal with 10 and to go -4. Well, the thing is, it depends on who you're taking out, right? Like content creators have been saying a -4 this week is actually more like a -2 because whoever you bring in, as long as they get 60 minutes, don't get a booking, doesn't matter pretty much who you play, they're going to get 2 points, right? Whether it's a midfielder, a defender or a forward. I would say if you're fielding 10 but you want to attack the Game Week 13 fixtures with Arsenal and City assets, it's probably better to just field the 10. It depends on how much damage you're going to do, really. But I like Salah, of course. I've brought him in this week. Foden seems to be able to match him for cheaper from an FPL perspective at least. And that's what I mean in terms of the value. You've got 8.2, 8.3 million versus 12.3 or whatever he is now. It just doesn't make sense to play KDB, in my opinion. Enver, best Maddison replacement with 9.7 in the bank. As I just mentioned, the best Maddison replacements for me are Saka and Foden. But obviously for this week specifically, they both blank, so it's a bit difficult. My personal view is maybe look at a different move and just hold Maddison until next week. I know, he's going to be playing, so it might give you a bit of a headache in terms of, do I play him, do I sell him? But if you've already lost the 0.1 on him, right? He's already dropped down in price, so I don't think there's anything really too urgent about transferring him out. It's SJ as a City fan. I think Foden is going to get benched more now because Jack and Mahrez haven't played and are well rested. I mean, that's an interesting take considering you're a City fan. I actually think the opposite. I think that although, Grealish and Mahrez, very, very respected players, I just think Foden looks better overall. He just seems to be taking his chances and dealing with them, right, in a positive way. Farzid, Andreas and Kane out for Salah and Solanke, in for a -4. Little bit tricky, that one, bud. I do like the Solanke pick. Definitely, over the next few fixtures, I think he's got the potential to do quite well. Andreas, though, is a solid bench option, and Kane's also a pretty good premium. So, I mean, Andreas and Kane, I think, are good enough to play. I don't necessarily think you need Salah and Solanke. My only thing would be is that if you really want to captain Salah, you make that move. Evening, Keith. Very well, thank you. Hope you're good. Tanoki, well, if you're replacing a defender like Fofana and James for a hit, it could be looked at as a -2. Very, very true. Very true. George, it would be getting rid of one of Maddison, Cancelo, Haaland, Martinelli. I don't want to harm my team for future weeks. So to be honest with you, my view is you probably can get rid of Maddison. You probably can do that, to be honest, to fill the 11th man. But like I said, the problem is who you bring in for him. My target would definitely be Foden or Saka at that price point. So bringing in Trossard, for example, for 1 week punt, you could do that, but just know that you're probably going to book in the transfer out. That's kind of my perspective on that, at least. So it depends what you're comfortable with. If you like or you're okay with booking in that transfer out, then potentially go for the 1 week punt. Silverline is the midweek game week, so Maddison doesn't have time to drop 0.2. Exactly. I just think it's going to be... It doesn't make sense to rush to sell him. I did rush to sell James, to be honest, in some ways. I maybe didn't think that transfer through fully, but I was always targeting this week with Webster playing Forest as well as last week. So it really kind of didn't really matter too much for me. But now Maddison, I could go and take a -4 to get rid of him and bring someone in, play them ahead of Nico Williams, but I just don't think it's justified. I don't think it's needed. Trossard 1 week punt or Sinisterra medium term taking a hit. Well, I mean, I think if you straight away you've kind of justified your own reasoning. If you're going to be taking a hit, then I would say Sinisterra because he's the medium term. I don't recommend taking a hit for 1 week punts, to be honest, especially with Trossard's fixtures. Like if we just take a look again, it's just that little bit. I don't know. It's a little bit odd, to be honest, with his fixtures. It's just you could play him against City, you could play him against Chelsea, but I'm not convinced that he's going to be a hold through those. 15 and 16 are pretty good in Wolves and Villa, but if you're going to justify him as a 1 week punt, I don't think he's a -4 worthy, mate. Then again, who knows if Maddison selling it will bleed over. I couldn't believe that Foden rose in price into the blank week more than a day after deadline. I mean, this is the thing. I think in one of the videos, maybe last week and a half ago or something, I said I'm not really sure that any of the blanking players will rise in price. But yeah, it's astonishing really how certain people play, I guess. Yeah, indeed. No worries, Abhinav, mate. Hope that helps. Hope that helps. I know it was a bit of a long-winded answer, so sorry, but yeah, hopefully that helps. Right, 9 minutes till deadline, guys. I know there's not really much of a benching to probably deal with, but just make sure you've got everybody in the right place. George, going to go with 10. Use my transfer with De Bruyne out for Salah, so I don't want to take a hit. Yeah, I think it's a good move, mate, to go with the 10. Like I said, you're not going to lose any more value in Maddison, mate. It's just, I think it's worthwhile. I haven't actually checked who's the first fixture. Is it Brighton? Brighton, Forest, Palace, Wolves. Nice. We've got some people playing today, which is good. Every day, in fact, I think, except for... Oh, no, yeah, even Fulham against Villa. Great stuff. I like a cheeky midweek game week. Yeah, it's an interesting one. It's like I said, for me personally, it's such a fast turnaround with working full time. It's really difficult to create content for. But this is obviously my first season creating content. I know you guys understand that anyway. And even just this little half-hour stream, right? It's not like a full-on hour-long weekend deadline. But I do like midweek fixtures as well, bud. I must admit. Keith, Maddison will drop before Saturday. Not sure why anyone is keeping him. Saka, Foden, Zaha and Bowen better options going forward. Yeah, I could even sell Maddison now for Bowen, to be honest. But playing Liverpool, I don't know, mate. I just feel like it's not necessarily the best fixture to attack. So I think, to be honest, I'm happy holding him, even if I do lose an extra 0.1. I don't think I will though. I think I'll be able to plan enough ahead of Saturday to be able to get a different player in. I'm just not sure there's anyone I want to target that's worth the -4 other than, like you say, Bowen, really. The rest of the people you've mentioned, other than Zaha, which I have, are blanking. So last game week for me was 46 points, bang average score, tiny red arrow. That's basically a grey arrow. Yeah, I mean, 46. Between 45 and maybe 55 was a pretty average score. George, yeah, mate, I got home from work like 20 minutes ago. Yeah, it's like I say, it's fast paced with these midweek fixtures. how far are we? How far are we? 6 minutes. 6 minutes till deadline. My daughter's just entered the room. Hello. Here is little Nadia, 18 months old. I've got another one on the way. Usually my wife kind of keeps her at bay a little bit, but we've got a guest today. Where's Mummy? Look. I'm sure, no doubt, that we'll be getting her into FPL football as well at some point. Got Rico, Henry and Williams, where others have Gay and Dunk, but I guess not worth taking hits for. No, to be honest, I would say that's not necessarily worth taking hits for. I mean, long term, it depends how many times you're going to be paying, I guess, Gahey, right? He's got some pretty good fixtures. You've already missed his price rise as well, though. So, I mean, if you have a look at Palace fixtures, I do like Gahey as an option. I think, actually, from a one transfer perspective, he could justify himself, because these fixtures here all the way until 16, Wolves, Everton, Southampton, West Ham and Forest. You could say that Forest and Wolves, even just alone, are probably one of the two of the best fixtures you can target. Southampton as well aren't exactly hitting off with goal scoring. Everton, West Ham's probably the most difficult fixture, right? So I actually like Gahey as a pick. Keith, have you thought about getting rid of Tony this week? 4 yellow cards and a difficult fixture. I mean, yes, I've thought about it and planned for a potential 5th yellow, but these 3 fixtures, Keith, right? Like, I just feel like I'm playing dangerous territory. But who do I go for? Solanke? I just don't know in terms of that striker outfit who to go for. To be honest, I've already brought in Salah now, so I can't really get to Kane without destroying my team. To be honest, so there isn't really a forward I've got my eye on, and I just really like those 3 fixtures. George, what was the baby's score last week? Yeah, I haven't got an account for her yet. One day, mate. Tanoki, all right, I'm heading to bed. Good night and good luck. And to you, bud, thank you very much for tuning in, mate. I know it's a late one for you, so I appreciate it. Enjoy your game week. I hope it's a green arrow for you, pal. Some great moves for you, mate. But yeah, Keith, I mean, feel free to throw out some advice to me as well, bud, if you want, for Tony replacements, because I'm just not sure. I'm not convinced in anybody, to be honest. Yeah, maybe Gahey for Rico Henry considering, but Brentford also have Wolves and Forest soon, so he's at least playable. That's a good point. That is a good point, as we just saw when I hovered over Tony's fixtures. Yeah, Forest and Wolves. So they share kind of 2 of the best, maybe, defensive fixtures, like I've mentioned. So yeah, maybe it's not worth it. You took out Tony for Solanke to fund other moves. Yeah, see, that's the thing. Because I had so much money in the bank and I had Sterling at that weird price point, I completely would... I actually think I'd be on board with Tony to Solanke to do exactly that. But who would I upgrade? That's the thing. I don't need to make that move, right? So that's why I'm kind of content with keeping him even through this tricky fixture. Yeah, I think going back to Rico Henry, maybe you do just hold him, bud. It is a tricky fixture this week, right? It is. Like, you've got to anticipate that Chelsea are probably going to get something from this game. Although, Brentford, like I mentioned in yesterday's video, they really do look at home in the Premier League. I must admit, like from a kind of neutral perspective, I think they're a great watch. I really do. I think it's great to watch them. So I don't think they're going to be just kind of just fall over to Chelsea. Although I think they might try to dominate. Potter loves playing possession-based football, so I think Chelsea might be the predominant, kind of team in that match. They might be able to keep them out. Yeah, Trossard to Saka and Foden is probably going to be a move for me. The alternative is Maddison to them. But the thing is because of Maddison's fixture next week, he doesn't really look like he's going to be, kind of an immediate out because of the Wolves fixture. So it's unfortunate he hasn't played Leeds, right? But, in 14, I was looking to ship him out for possibly a United asset. So my original plan was him to maybe someone like Rashford or Anthony, but we're not exactly firing in all cylinders, are we? So Saka or Foden makes more sense at the same price point, right, of 8.2, or roughly the same. But actually, I might keep hold of him. And then, like you say, because Trossard, I've got 1.4 in the bank, so I can just about reach Foden, I think. How much is he? Is he 8.3 now? Oh, okay. We're locked. We are locked, guys. We're locked. Just completely, the time just slipped away from me in this stream, guys. A daughter gate crashing. Only half an hour stream as well, right? So, yeah, sorry about that. But, yeah, if he's 8.3, then I probably would go Trossard to Foden next week. If not, I'd probably go for Saka. George, if only I could start 2 goalkeepers. Yeah. I do think that FPL, in terms of off topic from team selection point of view, but just as FPL overall, I've played now, I think this is my 5th season. I would like them to shake it up just a little bit. Just a different chip, maybe something for us to think about, because it is getting a little bit, not samey, I can't say that, but, because I'm still no expert. I've been playing it properly for 2 or 3 years and I still can't get it right. But yeah, maybe just a little bit of a shake up every season, throw in an extra chip, like not a bench boost, but some kind of similar where you stick in a bunch of attackers, right, for your 15 players or 11 players or just defenders, whatever it is. Keith, can't trust us at the moment. Foden before Saka, I would say. Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a tough decision for me, because both of them, I think, ahead of, as I say, the World Cup. I'm not sure when you tuned into the stream, but I was saying I think both of them and Mason Mount, right, the English young midfielders just seem to be kicking on. So it's it's going to be up in the air on who I bring in. But Trossard is probably going to be the transfer out for me next. Sorry, I say next week. It's this weekend, isn't it? But I'll try and do so after I think Thursday night. What I'll try to do, because I'm not really interested too much in watching the games, I'll try and do again kind of like a team selection video ahead of the weekend, and probably break down where my thoughts are at. As I was saying at the beginning of the stream, just when the deadlines come this thick and fast with a full-time job and a family, as you can see, it's just sometimes it's a little bit difficult. But I'll do what I can for you guys as a community. But yeah, as mentioned at the beginning, I haven't plugged again for a while. But yeah, please, if you're new to the channel, then consider subscribing to me. We broke the 400 subscriber mark at the weekend, which is absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely loving still creating content for you guys. All season long, I'll be at it, no doubt, for all seasons moving forward. I've just really enjoyed doing it. Hope you enjoy the content too. Maybe you enjoy my take on things. I don't know. But if you can find any reason to subscribe, that would be fantastic. It is free. You can always change your mind as well. So give me a follow as well on Twitter. So you can see there at FPL_link. I don't really tweet all the time. It's mainly during game weeks that you'll just see some reactions to me watching the games and so on. But yeah. SJ, I'm heading out later. Good luck for this week. And to you, bud, thank you very much for tuning into the stream, my friend. Keith, Chelsea fixtures not too good. Will defo be getting Foden, Saka, Zaha, Salah up to week 16. Do not blame you. I love all of those options, mate. All of those options. Nice. So I've gone for Sinisterra over Trossard. Needed someone more long-term. Will have 8 expensive attackers from next week, and he rotates perfect with Wilson. Bench 13, Sinisterra 14, Mitro 15. Perfect, mate. See? Sometimes it's just about thinking it out, talking it out, and understanding what we want to do, right? I think that was one of my mistakes or a big mistake of my gameplay, I suppose, over the past few years. I've not thought the moves out properly, and definitely helping content is not only giving me that slow down approach, but also I hope it helps you as managers as well. That's the aim, right? Sometimes you just need another take. And of course, for Sinisterra, let's not forget that Leicester aren't exactly solid, right? I know I mentioned to another viewer that Ward would probably be my choice ahead of the Southampton goalkeeper. But that's in isolation. I probably wouldn't play Ward ahead of many other goalkeepers. I think that Leeds could get something from that game quite comfortably. Without Maddison, I think that they're maybe going to struggle for the creativity, but we'll see. But But yes, guys, I think, what are we at? 6:05. So I think I'm going to wrap it up there. It's been, again, another solid stream. Thank you for all those repeat viewers that return week in, week out for me. I hope I help you solve any dilemmas that you have in your teams. George, this week is the most certain on my transfer I've been in ages. Yeah, I think for me it wasn't a planned one. Definitely, I felt like I was going to try my best to roll in this week into 13, but I just cannot ignore that man, Mo Salah. Cannot ignore it. So yes, as I said, guys, if you're new to the channel, if you want to subscribe, then hit that button for me. Hit the follow button on Twitter as well. I'll be tweeting throughout the week. So yeah, very, very good luck to all of you. Thanks again for watching the stream. Appreciate, as always, the support. And very, very good luck to all of you. So thanks for tuning in again, guys. And I will no doubt see you at the weekend or in a video just before that. So take care, guys. And I'll